So we're in Warwickshire for day 3 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. The riders will face the longest stage of the week today, 150 kilometres from here in Atherstone to Royal Leamington Spa. So how will they be feeling after yesterday's efforts? As the nation went to the polls, the question in Stoke was whether anyone had the strength to take the leadership of the race from the impressive WM3 rider Kasia Niewiadoma, who set the pace on the opening day. As expected, there were early attacks in stage 2, but no one group was able to establish anything like a gap until Anna Trevisi of Ale Cipollini and Alison Jackson of Be Pink worked well to build up a lead of 1.5 minutes. However, they were fast approaching the first iceberg sprint, and the peloton upped the pace. The two held on for the sprint points, with WNT rider Katie Archibald leading the group at Roster to take third. 6 riders jumped clear before the second of the day's sprints. All the big teams represented, and the points in Cheadle went to Bowles Dolman's Christine Majerus. The decisive move of the stage was likely to come during the tough 2 climbs towards the end of the day. And at the first Skoda Queen of the Mountains at Ipstones, Lucinda Brand of Sunweb attacked the leading group to go clear. And she built up a decent lead to also secure the second Queen of the Mountains points at Gun Hill. So were we going to see another solo stage win? Well, the chasers had her in their sights, and Brandt was caught with 7 kilometres to go by a chasing group of 18 riders, including the race leader Niewiadoma, but significantly missing last year's winner Lizzie Deignan.
And it's Peters then that hits the front right on time, and Peters is going to swing round that left-hander, and she'll see the line and takes the stage. Peters takes it then from Anna Barnes, with Ellen van Dijk coming in third.
WM3 dominates the top of the general classification. Kasia Niewiadoma 1 minute 46 ahead of Marianne Vos, with Canyon Schramm's Hannah Barnes in third place. Ellen van Dijk and yesterday's stage winner Amy Peters a further 2 seconds back. So no real change at the top of the general classification, but Rochelle, plenty movement behind Kasia Niewiadoma. What were your thoughts on yesterday's stage?
It was another really unpredictable stage. It didn't really go to the plan. We thought that it would be, another breakaway or one of the hardest days yesterday. We saw that long breakaway from Lucinda Brand, Team Sunweb, and a really strong team, and another strong rider that you wouldn't normally let go up the road, and she nearly made it home. But Amy Peters came home for Bowles, which I think is really good after they had a disappointing first day. They won the stage yesterday and in stage 2. So a great win by Amy Peters in the sprint. But the surprise for me yesterday, or the really impressive ride, was Hannah Barnes coming in second, moving up to third on GC and taking the best rider's British jersey from her sister.
And I think also what we saw was Kasia Niewiadoma backing up really well. She rode on her own for a long time on the opening day, yet she came in 5th and still is holding on quite comfortably to that green jersey.
Yeah, and I think that she really is capable of holding on to it. A lot of people were questioning how much work she did on the first day. She really did it the hard way to put herself in a winning position. But she's a rider that can every year run top 10 in the Giro d'Italia, so I think she's got the stamina to hold on to this jersey. And obviously she hasn't got a really strong team in depth in numbers, but she's got Marianne Vos by her side, and I think that means a lot. OK, we're into stage 3 territory now. Let's take a look at what the riders will be facing in Warwickshire today. Stage 3 is the longest of this year's tour at 151 kilometres. From Atherstone, the route heads south through Warwickshire, taking in iceberg sprints at Kenilworth and Wellesbourne. Edge Hill is the first Skoda Queen of the Mountains climb, and it's quickly followed by the second at Burton Dasset, before a mad dash to the finish in Royal Leamington Spa. Atherstone is a picturesque market town situated in North Warwickshire on what was the old Roman road of Watling Street. The town is famous for the annual Shrove Tuesday ball game that's been played out along the main street since the 12th century. Royal Leamington Spa boasts dramatic Regency architecture and picturesque parks and gardens, but the town is best known for its waters. The royal pump rooms and baths were opened in the 19th century and attracted visitors from far and wide, hoping to improve their health by bathing in the salty spa water, something the riders might want to take advantage of after a hard day in the saddle. So over 150 kilometres for the riders today in Rochelle. The sun is shining, a little bit breezy, but they'll be very pleased the rain clouds aren't in. Yeah, I think they will be pleased that there's one less challenge. The distance of today's stage, a lot of riders have been talking about, and obviously they've already raced 2 days, so they're feeling very tired. But this is a particularly long stage for women, and it's been a demanding tour, so I think there's a lot of riders out there hoping that it's not as aggressive as it has been the last couple of days.
But this is what they wanted to do with this race, isn't it? They wanted to make it challenging, they wanted to extend it, they've got ambitions to extend it even further, just to show that we have got a very, very competitive professional women's peloton.
Yeah, I mean, the riders demanded it be harder, but you know, that's how it is, and now that they're extremely tired and it's a very long stage today, that they're hoping for a sprint. I think a lot of riders will want to take it, you know, a little bit easy. They know that tomorrow's also going to be very tough, maybe the toughest of the stage race, so I think we might see a sprint today.
Do you think Bulls Dolmans again will look to try and do something? A disappointing race perhaps from them from the outset?
Well, I think they probably a little bit disappointed in being on the back foot after the first day, but they managed to get the stage win with Amy Peters yesterday, so that may have lifted their morale. Lizzie Deignan looks to be a little bit under her best at the moment. We haven't seen her really, you know, get out there and do some attacking and be aggressive, so we might see something from her today, but she can also sprint as well, so the team might put the effort into getting her to the finish today.
Although she probably has one eye on tomorrow's stage as well. Not so much in the way of mountains today, it's much flatter, but a really interesting course coming up. Let's just find out what the teams and the riders are saying about this one.
Wind will be, as we talked about yesterday, so it will be headwind more or less from the start, but you will have some sections with some crosswind. The circuit is not that hard today, so I'm quite sure with the condition that Gio is in that she can survive the climbs and be ready for a sprint. So yeah, we're excited about that. So then the two climbs we talked about yesterday, coming really short after each other, so at 112 and 122. The first one is really, really steep, 15% with the max.
So the team has the mountains jersey with Audrey Cordon-Rago, and what do you want to go away from the tour with? What will leave you satisfied?
For sure, the mountain jersey is a nice reward, and it's important for our sponsors with Wiggle here in the UK. So ending with a shirt in London would be perfect, and hopefully also a stage win.
I was very happy with yesterday. I think it's also good for the team when we won the stage, and I hope we can keep it going like this.
You think it'll be an attacking day today?
Yeah, I think we need to have a look how the stage goes, how the whole peloton wants to ride, and maybe it is aggressive, we can try something, but we see, you don't know it. It's such a hard stage, it's up and down the whole time, a lot of wind every day, so we need to see what's coming.
Many predicting a bunch sprint. How do you see this one playing out today?
I don't know if it's going to be a bunch sprint. I see a lot of teams want to attack, want to avoid a bunch sprint, want to go for a breakaway, and with the wind today, I see a group coming into the line, but I don't know if it's going to be a bunch sprint.
So will we see Kasia Niewiadoma still in that green Ovo Energy leaders jersey at the end of today? Who knows? And of course, Hannah Barnes wearing that Adnams Best of British jersey so far. The fact that she is third in the GC, how does that affect her race? Does she change her mentality now that she is up there with the leaders?
Well, I think absolutely. I mean, she has, with Canyon Shram, a really, really strong team. We wouldn't have predicted that Hannah Barnes would be their GC rider, but she's now sitting third on GC. And while she has that Best British Jerseys rider's jersey, I think that third place on GC is worth the whole team putting the effort into keeping her there, because it's a prestigious race, it offers a lot of points, World Tour, so I think third on GC has to be the priority for that team and for Hannah Barnes now.
And we know that she'll get tremendous support through Warwickshire. All the British riders, in fact the whole peloton, getting tremendous support here, haven't they?
They have, and for Hannah Barnes it's a particularly special race because she won her first UCI race here 2 years ago. So I think she'll be lifted by the crowd, and I think that with all the team behind her now, being leader on the road at a World Tour race for your team is something pretty special.
It is indeed. OK, let's get this one underway then. Stage 3 with commentary from Hugh Porter and Sharon Laws.
Thanks very much indeed, Jill. We're in Atherstone today, and this is the longest stage. It'll take the riders through to Royal Leamington Spa. just over 150 kilometres, so a lot of racing ahead of the competitors. Still ahead is Nui Adoma, who leads by 1 minute and 46 seconds over Marianne Vos and Hannah Barnes, and then there's two more at 1:48. That's Ellen van Dijk and Amy Peters. And if you go down to 17th spot, that's Floordy Mackay. She's only 2 minutes and 6 back, so there's a lot to play for.
Yeah, and you can see here we've got a great shot of the jerseys. On the left we've got Anna van der Breggen. She's wearing the Women's World Tour jersey in purple. Just behind her was Cecile Ludwig, and she's wearing the under-23 Women's World Tour jersey.
Well, look at the school children here. They've turned out in their thousands. Now then, here is a profile of today's course. And right on the front, you've got members of the WM3 Energy team looking after the race leader, Nui Adama. And oh, look at this, there's a crash already. Riders on the floor. Must have been a touch of wheels.
Yeah, there's some really big riders down there. Looks like Elisa Borghini in Wiggle High Five in the black jersey. Maybe Chantal Black there, Bulls Dolmans.
So riders from Ayla Cipollini in there as well. Quite a cluster of riders down. And Borghini, well, looks like the doctor's giving her attention at the moment. That's a real problem. That's Trevisi there, the Italian, on the Ayla Cipollini squad, and she looks very, very uncomfortable.
Yes, and this is a real panic for them. It's the adrenaline's going. They want to get back on the bike, but you also have to assess how injured they are.
Well, that's Clara Koppenberg. Look at the shorts, and she's took a whack on the knee as well, so let's hope she's okay to resume in the race. Good to see glorious sunshine today after a lot of the rain we've experienced in the early stages. Well, great shot there of Kenilworth Castle, and we're getting close to the first sprint today in the Iceberg Sprints classification.
Yeah, and I think there's everything to play for in this sprint because, of course, as well as the points, there's also seconds up for it. And you can see now Sunweb on the front really driving this.
Another retirement, Amelie Osik has climbed off.
Of course, for Sunweb, if Ellen van Dijk can get a second here, then she can move up on GC because she's only a few seconds behind second place.
These seconds are so vital now. They're so close together, bunched together behind the overall leader. The two podium spots behind number one are available, and these seconds can make such a difference. Well, it's a downhill approach and quite a high speed as they come up to this left-hander.
And you can see there Katie Archibald in the red helmet. She's very keen on this jersey, so she won't be going for the seconds, but she'll be going for the points.
Archibald, who got a third yesterday after 2 fourths the previous day, will be looking to try and go better now. She's got those red shoes on, so she's easy to spot. She is a world champion for the Omnium, and she's also an Olympic team pursuit champion. This is Danny King on the extreme right in the green helmet. King herself, an Olympic team pursuit champion, and she won that in London in front of her home crowd. Now, this little group has just detached itself off the front of the main bunch, so they're getting close to the line now. Look for the injection of pace. Archibald on the extreme right decides that she's going to take them on the other side of the road. Brilliant effort here then by the Scot. Has she gone a little bit too early? Archibald burying herself now with the rest right tucked into her wheel. Coming up to the line, Archibald takes it. Jolene Dorwer's second, and it looked like Ellen van Dijk of Team Sunweb getting third. That's confirmed, so that's another useful second there for Van Dijk.
Yes, that's going to move her up on the GC. You could see there we had Lucinda Brandt really driving that for Ellen van Dijk, so it's great teamwork by Sunweb.
So that's another second, as I say, as we've got Anna Barnes, who is the leading British rider, and she's got a flat tyre, so she's going to be waiting for the service car to come up. She's signalling, she wants the team car to come up and change the wheel as quickly as possible so she can get back into the bunch. You can see Elisa Longo Borghini there with a lot of bottles tucked down her jersey, so she's obviously playing a domestique role. Now, she's having a word with the doctor here. Obviously, this is to do with that earlier crash.
Yes, this is one thing the riders can do. They can go back to the car behind the commissaire and speak to the doctor. She's obviously taken a bit of strain from that crash.
Another abandon as well. You just saw Vilander Spoor. It's another one that's climbed off as the rider from Bowles Dolman looking across there as we're nearing the start of the second sprint of the day. This is at Wellesbourne. They'll have covered 65 kilometres when they tidy this one up. Now then, remember, as I've said to you all along, 3 seconds first, 2 for second, 1 for third, and these seconds are so valuable.
Yes, that's right, and we saw that Ellen van Dijk went for the first sprint, and I think Amy Peters, she's also could benefit, and Hannah Barnes if they can get seconds here.
And Katie Archibald will be out to try and add points to the 3 she got in Sprint 1, because she's in the hunt to try and win the Iceberg Sprints classification.
Well, you can see here we've got a Wiggle High Five driving on the front, followed by Danny King in the green helmet. And you can see Chantal Black there, she's a great lead out, so I'm sure she'll be working for Amy Peters for this intermediate sprint.
So here we go, and it's Danny King on the extreme right, but right in the middle it's the rider from Bowles Dolman here trying to wind the pace up. That's Amy Peters now taking over. Amy Peters, and the winner of the stage yesterday, gets that one, picking up 3 seconds. That's very useful. And in second spot was Katie Archibald, and in third spot was Jolene Dorr, so she'll get the 1 point. Now that means in the overall standings it's pretty tight. Jolene Dorr leading with 8, 6 for Archibald, Klein's got 5, and also Amy Peters, she's tying with the third place Klein on 5 as well, because she just won that sprint to add points to the previous ones.
Yeah, it's like a race within a race here, so obviously they're going for the points jersey, and also though Amy Peters is going to benefit from getting those valuable seconds.
I can tell you actually that the 3 seconds has now elevated her into second place overall, 1 second ahead of Voss and Hannah Barnes. Now here's an attack beginning to develop.
Yeah, that's an Orica Scott girl there, and she's closely tracked there by Ludwig, who's wearing the distinctive blue under-23 Women's World Tour jersey. Oh, and she's off on her own now. She's taken this on.
So this rider is in pretty good form at the moment. This is Ludwig, 21 from Denmark, riding on the Cervelo Bigler team. National time trial champion, so she's quite capable of holding a good tempo when she's on her own.
Yeah, and she's had a breakthrough year this year. She was third at Trofeo de Bindo, one of the World Tour races, and everybody's been so surprised that she's taken everybody by storm.
So Ludwig at the moment is the leader on the road. Well, she's got company. She needed it. Now then, together they can start to work. Now the company is Gracie Elvin, 28-year-old Australian on the Orica Scott team.
Yeah, and this is very good company. Gracie Elvin recently placed second at the Tour of Flanders, which is probably the biggest one-day race in the women's calendar. This is a very dangerous move.
And you saw the caption confirming that there are 3 riders, here they are, that have got off the front of the peloton as well, and they're trying to get up to the leading 2. The 3 are Martina Ritter of Drops, Malgorzata Jasinska of Silence, and Shara Gillow, who rides on the FDJ.
Yeah, this is a dangerous move. Shara Gillow is also a very good rider. She rode with Marianne Voss's team last year, but this year's moved teams to FDJ and is having a chance and an opportunity to ride for herself. She's had a number of top 10 World Tour wins.
And it looks like the junction is going to be made here, so a group of 5 working consistently. This is quite a useful number ahead, and all different teams as well.
That's right. We have some of the major teams missing from here. So Sunweb are not in this move. Also, of course, Bowles Dolman's, WM3. So it will be interesting to see how long they let them stay out here.
Not too much urgency at the front of the peloton at the moment, and they've got 1 minute and 30 seconds now, the leading 5. And this, of course, plays nicely into the hands of Cordon, who is the leader of the Skoda Queen of the Mountains, because none of the 5 here are a threat.
It looks like we've got the Banana Man watching by the side of the road as well.
Got a good spot as well. So we're heading on then towards this first climb, Edge Hill. It's a second category ascent, and it's actually 0.7 of a kilometre long, but it is quite hard.
Yeah, Shara Gillow's a very good climber in this group, and Ludwig, it'll be interesting to see how sprinter Gracie Elvin manages.
And near the back you can see riders from Drops, but they've got a very good player so far in this race, and that's the younger sister of Hannah Barnes, and that's Grace, who's going very, very well.
Of course, when the riders are like this in a group of 5, not going for the mountain points, it's more important that they really stay together, because they're going to profit from riding together as 5 as they are solo.
And of course the green jersey leader, Nui Adama, is under no threat at all.
No, that's right. This is actually a perfect scenario for her. So long as the group doesn't get too big a gap, I think she'll be happy with this.
So the field just about to cross the line now, and as I said, it's about 0.7 of a kilometre to the summit. And you can see it's pretty hard. They are actually looking a little laboured here, but no riders out of the saddle that we've seen so far.
You can see here next to Gracie Elvin is Ritter on the Drops team in the light blue helmet. She's a very good rider as well. She's placed 4th on GC at Grazia-Lova recently, and also was 9th in the Women's Tour of California. So she's a good little rider for Drops.
And it's interesting to see that Jasinska of Silence Pro Cycling, there she is, 2nd position on the inside. Had a good go yesterday actually up Gun Hill when she was chasing down Cecchini, the Italian champion, who was ahead of her at the time.
Well, and it looks here as though Ritter's struggling there. She's dropping off the back of that group.
Yep, so they're getting very close now to the top of the climb. None of these riders, as I said, are going to affect Cordon in the tussle for the jersey as the leader of the Queen of the Mountains, but you can see the different styles here now. And Martina Ritter of the Drops team has lost contact, so we're down to 4 as Ludwig at the front dances on those pedals and looks as though she's setting herself up for the 6 points.
Yeah, and Gracie Elving's an impressive ride from her, normally known as a sprinter, but of course she did represent Australia at the Olympic Games, which was a very hilly course.
And this being a 2nd category ascent, it's, as I said, 6 for the win. It goes down to 1 for 6th position.
And of course here we've only got 5 riders in the break, which leaves only 1 point available in the peloton behind, which of course Audrey Cordon will be wanting to get.
Good crowds here at the top of Edge Hill. It's a famous climb. It's been used in many, many road races over the years. But Ludwig just comes off the bend there to take the 6 points. And behind her it is Gillow. 3rd is Jasinska. And Ludwig looking back, and no doubt she's waiting for the rest to join up, because if they are all together they can work much better. This is Martina Ritter, who was dropped quite early on from the Drops team, so she finishes in 5th position. And what it does mean is there's still 1 point available, and we will wait to see the arrival of the peloton at the top, but it won't surprise me if Cordon is not in the hunt to try and get that 1 point.
You can see how hard this climb is now. Look at those back markers. Ooh, really taking some strain.
Well, they are reassembling now, so they can start to relay each other. That's what it's all about, just keeping the tempo up. But as you said, look at the contrasting styles. The riders at the back are really, really struggling. And if they don't join up, they could lose a lot of time here.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see such a break up here, but it just shows we've got tired legs. It's day 3, and these climbs are obviously becoming more challenging.
Almost at a standstill then, riders at the back. That's how hard it is. And here is the peloton arriving, and it is Cordon that takes the 6th position, so she picks up the 1 point. There it is confirmed, so she's further increased her lead in the Skoda Queen of the Mountains competition.
And you could just see that Neodoma was just on her wheel, just watching, checking what's happening.
Well, we've got the 2 sprints out of the way, Kenilworth and Wellesbourne, and the first climb at Edge Hill. There we are, the profile map showing you that we are approaching the 2nd concluding climb of the day, and that's at Burton Dasset.
Yeah, these riders are working really well together. You can see they're all rolling through, taking turns. It's all in their interest to contribute. You
can see Bowles Dolman taking an interest there, and also the team of the leader, Neodoma. And she's actually getting quite a nice ride here, enjoying the wheels in the peloton and not being stretched, riders not attacking her. So this is the start of the climb of Burton Dasset. I can tell you it is 1.7 kilometres long. It has a 2nd category rating, and the average gradient is 5%. Have you ever raced up this one, Sharon?
No, I also haven't done this one.
Well, I've raced up Edge Hill, and I've raced up a lot of the climbs in this area, and believe me, they are unforgiving.
And you can see there we had Sunweb on the front. Of course, the gap is still quite big, and the sprint teams now are going to be wanting to think about chasing this back.
Yep, so let's see what the development is on this climb. Let me just confirm once again the composition of the leading group, as the team of Sunweb are now starting to get organised at the front. They're going to be looking after Ellen van Dijk.
That's right, she got 3rd on the stage yesterday, so she's very close on GC, so they'll definitely be taking care of her.
So still ahead then, it's Cecilia Ludwig, Gracie Elvin, Martina Ritter, Malgorzata Jasinska and Shara Gillow.
Yeah, this is an interesting move. It's not the top riders, but as I said, there's some really good riders in this group, so they could stand a chance of staying away.
And none of them actually are affecting the overall standings. If they could maintain around about 1.5 minutes when they got to the finish, they would all move up nicely on the overall GC, but it certainly wouldn't dislodge the overall leader, and that's Nui Adoma.
No, that's right, Hugh, but I don't think Neodoma would want them to have such a big gap, but I think she'd be happy, you know, if the gap was down to 20 seconds by the finish. As you said, it prevents any brakes going off, so it's easier for her to control the race this way.
Quite a speed that the bunch are tapping out here, and there it is confirmed, 1 minute and 45 seconds. So they're doing a good job, the quintet that are ahead, and it is a very, very narrow road here, isn't it? Look at this, as they're coming up into the Burton Dasset Hills Country Park. What a lovely sight that is.
Yeah, this narrow road's going to be important for riders to be near the front as they approach this climb, so there won't be any moving up at that point.
And then just crossing over the motorway here, as the riders of Sunweb just freewheeling off the front at the moment, and the crowd is starting to build, so that indicates that we are getting close to the top.
Yeah, you can see here Rita's looking a little bit more comfortable in this group now, so she's found her climbing legs.
Abby May Parkinson near the back of the group here, and also Jenny Karama of WM3 Pro Cycling. Meanwhile, back at the front, the five are all content to just sit there and ease their way nearer to the summit. Riders now trying to get away from the peloton to give themselves an easier ride here.
Yeah, you can see here, I mentioned before that Sunweb weren't represented in that group, so it looks like this Sunweb driver is trying to get across.
Meanwhile, Ludwig at the front still finds a very, very nice, easy pedalling style.
Yeah, she's looking very comfortable, isn't she?
And of course, they're under no pressure at all, are they? It's not as though they're contesting any sprints to get points because they're in contention for the overall classification of the mountains.
No, that's right, but of course they do want to get up the road and maximise their time gap.
Well, we saw last time it was 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's a nice advantage. When they get over the climb, they'll have done 124 kilometres of this stage. That's 150.8.
Yeah, this is still a long climb. We can't see the summit yet.
26 kilometres to go once they have gone across the top of the climb. So if they start to work well together, there is a chance they could actually get to Leamington Spa for the sprint and the stage victory.
Oh, you can see here the green jersey, Neodoma. She's just staying near the front so that she can follow any moves that go. Also got Ellen van Dijk here. She's the Sunweb rider on the right coming up, and Ashley Molman, a very good climber in the red helmet. Christine Majeras there with the Bowles Dolman's yellow helmet top.
You did say that Nui Adoma was a good climber, and your call has proved to be spot on. Over the cattle grid, and you can see the top just ahead now. Ludwig was the rider that was first over the top of Edge Hill, and if she gets this one, she'll have earned 12 points today, and she is at the top first, so that's 12 points for her. And it looked like the rider from Drops in second place, that's Ritter. Well, Ritter was off the back at the top of Edge Hill, but she's made up for it this time, getting second. Now then, we wait for the arrival of the bunch, and that was Ellen van Dijk, the former world time trial champion there, who rides on Team Sunweb. Tall, strong and powerful. And from this shot, it's looking as though it's going to be uncontested. She may well just pedal through with the field in her wheel.
Yeah, that's right. And you see how narrow roads we've got now, which is favouring the break, because if these girls ahead, you know, they can't be seen by the peloton, so it's a good chance for them to stay away. Well,
I caught a glimpse there of Van der Breggen, but did you see Cordon?
I haven't seen Audrey Cordon yet. Well, she should hopefully be in this group, because of course there is this 1 point still available.
So Cordon got the point for 6th over the top of Edge Hill. Now then, is she going to put herself about here? Can't see her at the moment. It's Majerus in second wheel now. Cordon is coming through on the left. She's wearing that Queen of the Mountains jersey with the white right sleeve.
Yeah, she's obviously very keen on this jersey, and she doesn't seem to have too many people contesting her.
Now then, she's come to the front, so it's Cordon, who we are quite accustomed to seeing cresting the top of the climbs and picking up points every day. Is she going to take it? Oh, it was close. Very, very close. And look, she put her hand up as much as to say, well, why did you do that? Now then, we'll have to wait to the caption there, I think, Sharon, but it was Ellen van Dijk. Yes, van Dijk took it. Why did she do that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's not. Yeah, sometimes you kind of expect you just to get the points when you're not contesting. So it's an interesting move from Ellen van Dijk, but it might not even have been on purpose.
Well, it hasn't done anything to her lead. Cordon is still the overall leader, and she will collect that jersey at the end of the stage in Royal Leamington Spa. Now, these are one or two of the riders right at the back of the group. You can see how it's stretched out, and they've got some work to do then if they want to get back into the business end of the contest that are chasing down the 5 leaders.
Yeah, this climb's definitely done some damage. There's a lot of splintering here.
Fragmenting on the climb, it's always the case. You get certain riders that just pick groups that they ride with, and then they work hard and eventually re-establish themselves in the right position. These are the 5. These are the different descending skills that we're looking at.
Yes, that's right. We've got Shara Gillow in that group. She's a very good descender.
Now then, Sharon, the question I've got to ask you, do you think they can stay away?
Well, that's a difficult call. It's lacking these big sprint teams who are really going to want it to come down to a sprint. So we're looking at Ale Cipollini, Bowles Dolmans and Wiggle, who are going to be after this stage win.
We've left the climbs behind us, and the lead was 1 minute and 40 for the 5 that are ahead. But it is tumbling because the peloton are starting to get themselves organised, and the race is inside the closing 10 kilometres.
Yeah, you can see here we've got the big teams who want a sprint here. Sunweb on the front, Wiggle High Five. They're really going to want this to come down to a sprint because, of course, we're chasing stage wins now. The GC is probably fixed with Cassia Niewiadoma having such a big lead, 1 minute 42.
And as you can see, 22 seconds now, so the big bunch are really getting themselves organised. The rider in the front group that had the most to gain was Ludwig, because she started the day 9th overall at 1 minute and 58 seconds, and that is why this group are getting themselves organised. And as you pointed out as well, Sharon, the big teams are going to try and fire off their sprinters at the end.
Yeah, now we've moved on to bigger rows. Peloton can see this group ahead, and that's going to give them added incentive. So I think this could be the end of the day for this break.
Yeah, the best scenario would be to be in the narrow roads, because out of sight is out of mind. But here, there they are. It's the bunch reeling in their quarry now, isn't it? It's just a matter of how much longer can they stay ahead.
Looks like Sunweb and Wiggle High Five are working well together on the front here to bring this back.
Kilometres are being ticked off all the time, and there's 1 or 2 handy sprinters in this group must be thinking very much about a stage victory. They'll have all looked at the handbooks and worked out the approach to the line. But look at this, the gap is being chipped away all the time by the fast-moving peloton.
That's right, and of course WM3 with Cassia Niewiadoma, they don't need to do anything now. She's sitting so comfortably at the head of the GC, so they can just profit from the other teams having to make this chase for the stage win.
And at the back, at a character almost being at the back, is Anna van der Breggen, the Olympic champion, who's had a fantastic year this year. And van der Breggen is a strong finisher, so she may well be in the shake-up.
Yeah, it looks like she's maybe just dropping to the back there, maybe to go back to the team car to ask a few questions.
Well, their team very, very strong indeed. And of course they've got Christina Majorus, the champion of Luxembourg, who's won stages in the past in this tour. She's also been a podium finisher, so surely that's going to be the rider they'll be looking to try and place up near the front. And also Amy Peters, who of course got that brilliant victory yesterday.
That's right, and of course we saw Ellen van Dijk finish on the podium yesterday for Sunweb.
So on the left you can see her, that's Van der Breggen. If you don't recognise the jersey, that is the jersey that is worn by the leader of the World Tour. 5 kilometres to go, 3 miles of racing left, and the front 5, well, they're just about to be caught, and so it'll be status quo with them all together. So what kind of tactics can we expect now in the closing stages, Sharon?
Well, it's a much less complicated finish to today's stage than the other 2 stages. So all they've got to worry about is one right-hand turn 600 metres before the finish. So it's going to be critical for them to all get to that point first. So there's going to be a lot of battles. I'm expecting us to see more sprint trains than a chaotic finish that we've seen on some of the other 2 stages.
Well, Van der Breggen has now worked her way right up to the front of the group. She's just about going to pass Ludwig. There's Ludwig just slipping further back, and riders some drops near the front as well.
Yeah, of course, Alice Barnes, very fast finisher, so I expect that she could do well on this stage today. And we've got Hannah Barnes too, so Battle of the Barnes sisters.
Danny King is also there, and in case you're going to be looking for the British National Championship jersey in the finish, if Hannah Barnes is involved, well, she's not wearing that actually. She is wearing the jersey as the leading British rider, and that's the Adnams best British rider placed in the race.
Yeah, it would also be nice here. We've got some smaller teams who are also quite keen on a sprint finish. Of course, the WNT, the other British team racing with drop cycling, and they've got Katie Archibald, who's obviously got fast legs. She's been going for the intermediate sprints. And there's also Orica Scott. Sarah Roy is a very good sprinter in that team. And this fluoro jersey of Ale Cipollini, they've got Bastianelli and Chloe Hoskin, also a very fast sprinter. So it's all to play for today. I think it's going to be a very exciting sprint finish.
Bastianelli, a former world champion, 30-year-old Italian, and what a brace of sprinters they've got then for Ale Cipollini with Hosking and Bastianelli, as you mentioned. Looking at the Bowles-Dolmans team, we've already mentioned Majerus and Peters. They're likely to be well to the fore. And then, of course, you've got Giorgia Bronzini, although now we're probably getting more to veteran status. She's been twice a world champion.
That's right, and Jolien de Hoor. And what's interesting for the teams is they might not necessarily have decided at the beginning of the stage who they're going to go for in the sprint. Such a long stage, and by this point they'll have communicated via the race radios to each other who's feeling fresh, who's feeling good, and who really wants to go for the stage win.
Well, the field stretching out all across the road here, and it's going to be very, very exciting, this one. Who's going to put their name on the roll of honour? Who's going to cover themselves in glory? There's a lot of riders in there want this very, very much.
And often some of the teams make the mistake of trying to start the sprint train too early and then just running out of gas just before the finish. So it's going to be seeing lots of battles here for riders to stay at the front, but they don't want to be on the front too early.
Well, remember, it's 10 seconds for the win, 6 for second and 4 for third. But the way this is shaping up here, it's not going to affect the overall leader. 3 kilometres to go.
And you can see Orica Scott now have taken up the race at the front. They'll be working for Sarah Roy, I imagine.
Lifting the tempo significantly, Orica Scott. Their director sportif is Martin Barras, and their team is Elvin, Crooks, Manley, Naylan and Sarah Roy.
And you can see here Sunweb coming up on the right. They're organising themselves. You see all 4 riders together here. I imagine they'll be working for Ellen van Dijk after her 3rd place yesterday.
And she's already picked up a point and a second in the intermediate sprint earlier in the day, and that came at Kenilworth. She also picked up a point as well at the top of the second mountain.
Yeah, so she's going to be fighting for a GC place here today.
So Van Dijk, very, very strong, former world time trial champion. Keep an eye out for her as they approach the finish, but it's still Orica Scott on the front, trying to stretch the legs of the rest, with Van der Breggen sitting in 2nd position.
Yeah, Anna van der Breggen's very good lead-out rider. We've seen that when she races for the Dutch national team as well. So she'll be working possibly Christian Majerus or Amy Peters.
2 kilometres to go. These kilometres do seem long to me. It's 2 kilometres to go.
They do, and very wide roads, which makes it very difficult for the teams to control. You can see we've got riders coming up on both sides of the road around the traffic island.
Now, that's interesting actually. On the front now, Sharon, is Canyon Schramm.
I think that's Lisa Brenner, closely followed by Hannah Barnes, so she's putting herself in a very good position here.
And they've got in their team the Italian champion as well, Elena Cecchini, that we saw up the road yesterday. So Barnes out to try and figure in this one and taking her place nearer the front.
Yeah, you can see here we've got Elena Cecchini and Trixie Warak. They'll be protecting Barnes for this stage finish.
So that would be a lovely finish, wouldn't it, if Barnes could clinch this? She won the last stage in the Tour a couple of years ago in Hemel Hempstead. But you can see the urgency here as you look across the field. It really is beginning to ramp up the pace.
Yeah, on the right-hand side here, we've got a very good train from Sunweb with Lucinda Brandt, Ellen van Dijk and Leah Kirchman. Leah Kirchman also a very good sprinter.
Yep, Kirchman has been on the podium in stage finishes. So that's another name we can throw into the mix. It looks as though we're going to get a slight attack on the right. No, in fact, it's Canny and Schramm trying to make sure that they have got a handle on the front of the field here. So it's a matter of one of the teams trying to keep their hand on the tiller so that they can launch their sprinter as he gets right up to the line.
You can see a few Ale Cipollini riders coming in through here. Not as organised though, they don't have any sprint train going.
All the teams here anxious to try and keep a grip on the front of the group. And there is the OVO Energy 1 kilometre sign. So we're inside the concluding 1,000 metres now.
Yeah, they're going to be really fighting to get to the front. As I said, we've got this very important right-hand bend coming, so they're going to be racing for that one. And I think that's Lucinda Brandt on the front there. As I said before, I think very good technical rider. She's just pulled off. She's done her turn now, so that's her day over.
The race finishing on the parade here in Royal Leamington Spa. It's the first time that the Tour has been here, and they're going to be treated to a fantastic finish to tidy up this, the longest stage of 150.8 kilometres.
It looks like we've got Wiggle High Five on the front now, really driving it. That could be Giorgia Bronzini, and I think maybe that's Audrey Cordon could be doing a lead out there for Wiggle High Five.
Oh, there's a crash there. Oh, my goodness me.
That's
And
bad.
that's Marianne Vos that's gone down. Well, that's one of the big sprinters that will not be contesting the finish. And look at this now, right at the front. Hoskins in the yellow, and on the far side, it is Barnes trying to come through on the inside. But it's the power of Hoskins, of Ela Cipollini in the yellow that's going to get it. Hoskins going to take this from Barnes. Very close on the line. Hoskins takes it from Barnes. The front view showed us that they were quite close, but I think there was quite a gap between them on the line. It looked like Van Dijk or Sunweb getting third.
Well, that's an incredible win for Chloe. She's new to this team, and that will be their first World Tour win, so that's fantastic for Ale Cipollini. Look, she just times this perfectly. She just comes through. Bronzini's fading here, and she's very clear of Alice Barnes there. Yeah, look at that. Incredible. Well done. That's a fantastic ride by Chloe Hoskins.
So what a finish, and a great day for the British as well. Alice Barnes second, in sixth place Anna Barnes, and seventh Katie Archibald. Chloe Hosking clinched the sprint to the line ahead of Alice Barnes and Ellen Van Dijk. Giorgia Bronzini claimed fourth, Christine Majerus fifth, and Hannah Barnes and Katie Archibald made it three Brits in the top seven. A great performance from Chloe Hosking to claim the win on stage 3 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour.
I finished second a lot this year, so to cross the line first, it was just a really nice moment for myself and the team. And you know, I said to the team this morning, I said I want to sprint, and then to come up with the goods. It's sort of, you know, it's hard for your teammates to work 100% for you when you keep finishing second. So to finally win is really nice.
Audrey Cordon keeps hold of the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey for another day. But there's a change of leader in the Iceberg Sprints classification. Jolene Dorr taking the jersey after picking up points on both today's sprints. The Adnams Best British Rider classification is becoming the battle of the Barnes sisters. Alice reclaiming the jersey from Anna. Katarzyna Nui-Adoma keeps the lead in the Wiggle points classification and the race overall. She'll be wearing the OVO Energy green jersey for at least another day. But her advantage at the top of the GC has been trimmed. She now leads Ellen Van Dijk by 1 minute 43 seconds. Further back are Alice and Hannah Barnes alongside Marianne Vos.
Well, we wondered if this one would come down to a bunch sprint here in Leamington, and it did, but we didn't know until the last few kilometres. What a chase back.
It was a very hard chase from all of the teams to bring it back for a bunch sprint. So we knew it was potentially going to be a bunch sprint, but in that kind of excitement, to come down in the last, 5 kilometres, and then the sprint was the best of the best.
Yeah, Chloe Hoskins, she's waited a long time to get that victory. We could see what it meant to her.
Yeah, we absolutely could. I mean, she's won a lot of big races and she's won some races this year, but I think this one, for her, we could see was super emotional, and she really, really wanted it. It means a lot to her.
Nasty crash in the last 10 kilometres. Danny King going down, Marianne Vos going down. Let's hope we see them back on their bikes tomorrow.
Yeah, I think, the key rider for the leader, who's Kasia Nui-Adoma, is Marianne Vos, and she came down pretty hard. She's got a lot of skin off, and I think Kasia Nui-Adoma is going to have a really hard day tomorrow if she's one rider down in Marianne Vos.
Well, fingers crossed. Of course, we switch to Derbyshire tomorrow. Chesterfield, the start and the finish. A really tough day in the saddle to look forward to there. Charlie Webster will bring you all the action. I'll see you in London on Sunday. Bye for now.